I would like now to invite Nick Spone to the podium to address his classmates. Nick has overcome tremendous struggles during his tenure here at Manheim Central, and I know his story will be an inspiration to some and a reminder to his fellow classmates about the value of hard work.
My original goal was to get through high school because my life as I knew it seemed to be fading out of sight. During the summer before ninth grade, I began to notice changes in my vision. I thought I needed new glasses. The first time I went to the eye doctor, I got a prescription that did not work. Maybe it was God's way to lay on the news gently. I went to the doctor again, to a different doctor, and when the doctor put the lenses in front of my eyes, I thought to myself, oh no. No matter what changes the doctor tried to make, there was little progress in what I could see. My mom, my brother, and I now shared the burden of blindness. After the appointment, my mom, my brother, and I just were standing there and trying to make sense of it all. Fast forward to ninth grade. During one of the challenges during ninth grade was that I was trying to play soccer on the high school JV team. It became more and more difficult for me to see the ball and my teammates. As the season progressed, it became difficult for me to also see my teammates score. I never knew that they scored, I just heard my teammates cheering. It made me feel really out of place. Overcoming adversity was a huge challenge during my transition to high school. Although I came up with creative solutions to solve my problems, these solutions did not help because my vision continued to get worse. Thankfully, my teacher for the visually impaired, Mr. Gerhardt, came to help me. He's the guy with the red beard you may have seen around the school. One of the things that Mr. Gerhardt taught me was how to type on my laptop without looking at the keys. Another thing that Mr. Gerhardt taught me was a screen reading and screen magnification software called Magic. Compared to Windows Magnifier, it really did work like magic. Um, During ninth grade, I had some very creative teachers. Mr. Brackbill was creative because he helped me try and see the sheet music. He would print the music on 11 by 17 inch paper. Even when this solution did not work, I was very thankful for everything that Mr. Brackbill tried to do to help. Another creative teacher I had was Mr. Ekman. Mr. Ekman taught me the basic skills of engineering design by having me draw out the wooden blocks that he made for me. Going into 10th grade, I wanted to take control of my life and not live day by day. Oh, yeah. My statistics teacher, Mrs. Rogers, helped me gain my confidence in my math skills. Math was one of my strengths in middle school, and now I was gaining my confidence. Another teacher that impacted me during 10th grade was my phys ed teacher, Mrs. Wise. Mrs. Wise got me in touch with Coach Kennedy, my cross-country coach. Coach Kennedy and I came up with a plan to have a guide runner that would run with me during races so that way I could participate. Everything seemed to come together in 10th grade. Just as I thought I was taking 3 steps forward, I was forced to take 2 steps backward. During the summer before my first cross-country season, I had a really nasty case of pneumonia. I thought to myself as I was in the hospital, would I be able to run for this cross-country season? The answer was obviously no. So then I thought to myself, what are my goals to get out of this? What are my goals between now and the time I graduate high school? In the fall of 11th grade, I began taking acoustic guitar lessons. This was nice because I was able to learn an instrument and still and then I later also build off of my successes in high school. Pre-calc in 11th grade with Mrs. Ziegler was a great time for me because I was continuing to build my confidence with math by learning how to analyze tactile graphs and how to type out my math work. Mrs. Hunt may have called Mrs. Kowalczyk the crazy lady down the hall, but Mrs. Kowalczyk provided me a great experience in honors chemistry. Mr. Gerhardt, Mrs. Kowalczyk, and I worked together to make honors chem a great experience. Mr. Gerhardt helped me out by making an Excel spreadsheet of the entire periodic table so that way I could read the periodic table. With Mrs. Kowalczyk's help, I was able to earn a B-. Not bad for a kid who couldn't see the board. In 11th grade, I began running on the track team. In the fall of my senior year, I was able to run on the cross-country team with my guide runner, Coach Christ. I remember after some races, there would be a kid from another school saying to me how I'm such an inspiration. I never saw myself as an inspiration while running. I just wanted to achieve my goals. My biggest academic challenge was AP Calculus. Even though Mr. Brenize did what he could to help me, it was still a challenge. I took regular calc this past semester. Why do I mention this to all of you? Because calculus was something that I wanted to understand as I am going into college to be an engineering major. I also challenged myself with AP Chemistry. It was a good experience with the help of Mrs. Kowalczyk. I would like to thank all of the teachers and staff for their creativity and their support. Thank you, Mrs. Brown, for looking out for me, and thank you, Mr. Weitzel, for your unwavering support. We cannot forget everything that has happened over the years. Even the bad memories shape us into who we are. There's a reason that I shared with you a little bit about the past 4 years. I learned through my experiences that you need to pick up the pieces of what you think is destroyed and make something new out of it. Rebuilding will take time. The sooner that we all admit that, the better. Now, more than ever before in our lives, we are faced with the challenge of rebuilding. How can we achieve these huge goals? How can we help our community and use our lives for the better? Be the one that comes up with creative solutions. Be the one to set goals for yourself. I learned that if you really want something, you will strive to achieve your goal by using the pieces of what you think is destroyed and create something new. Do not be afraid to learn new things. And finally, no matter what, keep going. Class of 2020, best of luck to all of you.